She was a two-time Academy Award-winning actress, yet she turned her back on Hollywood. She entered politics but never played by the rules. Glenda Jackson is a figure of stark contrasts, public acclaim and private mystery, power and retreat. What made this icon walk away from everything she knew? The answers are buried deep in her past, and today, we're going to unearth them. Glenda Jackson's early life and family background. Glenda Jackson was born on May 9, 1936, in Birkenhead, a town in Cheshire, England. Her father, Harry Jackson, worked as a bricklayer, and her mother, Joanne, was a cleaner. The Jackson family lived a modest life, typical of the working-class environment that dominated the area during the 1930s and 1940s. The post-war years were particularly tough, with rationing still in effect, and the economic strain on families like hers was evident. As a child, the future star attended the local West Kirby Grammar School for Girls, where she showed an early interest in literature and performance. Despite the financial constraints of her family, there was a strong emphasis on education. The war had taken its toll on many families, and the belief in education as a means to a better life was deeply ingrained. A turning point came when, at age 16, she left school to work at Boots, the chemist. This job was not fulfilling, and she soon found herself seeking something more. In a twist of fate, she joined a local amateur dramatics group, which ignited a passion that would change the course of her life. The experience of performing on stage was transformative, leading to an audition for the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London. Accepted into RADA in 1954, the young actress left behind the industrial landscape of Birkenhead for the bustling, opportunity-filled streets of London. The years spent at RADA were formative. Training under the guidance of industry professionals provided not only the skills, but also the confidence needed to navigate the competitive world of acting. It was during these early years in London that she began to craft her identity, both as a performer and as a person. The transition from a working-class background to the arts was challenging, but it was also the foundation for the fierce independence and resilience that would define her career. The shift to acting and the start of a promising career. In the late 1950s, after completing her training at RADA, she began to gain recognition in the London theatre scene. The Royal Shakespeare Company, RSC, became a pivotal part of her early career. Her performances in classical roles were marked by a raw intensity and emotional depth that quickly set her apart from her peers. The first significant breakthrough came with her portrayal of Charlotte Corday in Peter Brook's 1964 production of Marat Sade. This role not only showcased her ability to embody complex characters, but also brought her to the attention of both critics and the broader public. The success of Marat Sade led to a film adaptation in 1967, further expanding her influence. By the mid-1960s, she was already making a name in both theater and film. In 1965, she starred in the film The Sporting Life, where she delivered a performance that was both critically acclaimed and commercially successful. This film marked the beginning of a transition from stage to screen, a shift that would define the next decade of her career. In 1967, she appeared in the film The Sailor from Gibraltar, directed by Tony Richardson. Though the film itself did not achieve widespread acclaim, her performance was noted for its intensity and depth, qualities that would become her trademarks. These early roles laid the groundwork for what would become a highly successful film career. With each performance, she continued to build a reputation as one of the most talented and versatile actresses of her generation. The stage was set for a meteoric rise, one that would soon see her achieve international fame, the rise to stardom and Oscar wins. The year 1969 marked a turning point. Her role as Gudrun Brangwyn in Ken Russell's film Women in Love catapulted her to international stardom. This film, based on D.H. Lawrence's novel, was controversial for its explicit content, but it was also a critical success. Her portrayal of Gudrun was lauded for its complexity and emotional depth, earning her the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1971. This win solidified her position as a leading actress in Hollywood and opened the door to a series of high-profile roles. In 1973, she won a second Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in A Touch of Class. This romantic comedy, directed by Melvin Frank, showcased her ability to shift seamlessly between drama and comedy, further cementing her reputation as a versatile performer. During this period, she also appeared in films such as Sunday Bloody Sunday, 1971, and Mary Queen of Scots, 1971, both of which were critically acclaimed. Her performance in Sunday Bloody Sunday earned her a second Oscar nomination, while Mary Queen of Scots showcased her ability to portray historical figures with nuance and depth. The 1970s were a decade of continued success. In 1975, she starred in the film Hedda, based on Henrik Ibsen's play Hedda Gabler. Her portrayal of the troubled and complex character of Hedda Gabler earned her a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Although she did not win, the nomination further reinforced her status as one of the leading actresses of her generation. By the end of the 1970s, she had established herself as a dominant force in both the British and American film industries. Her ability to take on diverse and challenging roles, combined with her unwavering commitment to her craft, made her one of the most respected actresses of her time. Glenda Jackson's mysterious sabbatical from acting. In the late 1980s, at the height of her career, something unexpected happened. She began to withdraw from the acting world. This retreat from the spotlight was surprising, given the immense success and acclaim she had achieved. By 1992, she had virtually disappeared from the public eye as an actress, sparking curiosity and speculation. There were various theories about why she stepped back. Some suggested burnout, while others speculated that she had grown disillusioned with the industry. The truth was more complex. In interviews from this period, she hinted at a desire for change, a need to find something more meaningful than the world of acting could offer. During this time, she rarely appeared in public and took on very few acting roles. In 1988, she starred in the film Business as Usual, a British drama that received limited attention. This film would be one of her last major roles before her hiatus. Her withdrawal from acting coincided with a growing interest in social and political issues. The late 1980s and early 1990s were marked by significant political and social change in the UK, and she became increasingly vocal about her views. In a 1991 interview, she mentioned, "There's more to life than acting." This statement, while brief, hinted at the internal struggle she was facing, one that would soon lead to a dramatic shift in her career. Entering the political arena. In 1992, the world was stunned when the acclaimed actress announced her candidacy for the UK Parliament. She ran as the Labour Party candidate for Hampstead and Highgate, a constituency in North London. This move marked a radical departure from her previous life in the arts. Her decision to enter politics was motivated by a deep sense of social responsibility. She had long been critical of the Conservative government under Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, particularly regarding issues like housing and social welfare. Her campaign focused on these issues, resonating with many in her constituency who were frustrated by the government's policies. The election was hard-fought, but she emerged victorious, winning her seat in the House of Commons. This victory marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one that would see her transition from screen icon to political advocate. Her early years in Parliament were marked by a steep learning curve. Politics was a different kind of stage, with its own rules and challenges. She quickly established herself as a fierce and outspoken MP, unafraid to speak her mind on contentious issues. One of her early speeches in Parliament criticized the government's handling of the National Health Service, earning her respect among her peers. Throughout her political career, she continued to focus on issues related to housing, women's rights, and social justice. Her background as an actress often brought a unique perspective to her political work, but she remained focused on the issues that mattered most to her constituents. Political career and public perception. As a member of Parliament, Glenda Jackson quickly became known for her unwavering commitment to her principles. Her political career spanned 23 years, from 1992 to 2015, during which time she was involved in numerous debates and initiatives. Jackson was a strong critic of the conservative government, particularly under John Major and later Tony Blair's Labor government, when she was critical of policies that she felt betrayed traditional labor values. One of her most notable political moments came in 2003, when she voted against the Iraq War, standing firmly against the labor leadership. Jackson believed the war was unjustified, a stance that resonated with many of her constituents and the broader public. Her opposition to the war reflected her broader skepticism of government policies that she viewed as serving elite interests rather than the common good. In addition to her stance on the Iraq War, she was also a vocal advocate for social housing. As an MP for Hampstead and Highgate, a constituency that included areas of significant economic disparity, she championed affordable housing and fought against gentrification that displaced long-standing communities. Her work on housing was a continuation of her lifelong commitment to social justice, an issue she had spoken passionately about even before entering politics. Despite her dedication to her political work, she faced criticism from some quarters for her outspoken nature and refusal to conform to the expectations of a typical politician. Her background as an actress occasionally led to dismissive remarks from political opponents, but she remained unfazed, often using her platform to highlight the very issues that were being ignored by the political establishment. Jackson's time in Parliament also saw her taking on the role of Minister for Transport from 1997 to 1999 under Tony Blair's government. In this position, she was responsible for overseeing public transport policies, where she pushed for greater investment in public infrastructure. However, her tenure as minister was not without controversy, as she clashed with other members of the government over policy directions. Throughout her political career, Jackson remained true to her convictions, earning respect from her colleagues and constituents alike. Her transition from actress to politician was not without challenges, but it underscored her determination to make a tangible difference in society. Returned to acting after politics. After retiring from Parliament in 2015, Glenda Jackson made a surprising and highly anticipated return to the stage. Her first major role after this hiatus was in the title role of King Lear, directed by Deborah Warner. The production, which premiered at the Old Vic in 2016, was a resounding success, with Jackson's portrayal of Lear receiving widespread acclaim from critics and audiences alike. Playing Lear was a bold choice, given that it is traditionally a male role and one of the most challenging in the Shakespearean canon. However, Jackson's performance was described as riveting and fearless, demonstrating that her time away from the stage had not diminished her acting prowess. The role of Lear allowed her to explore complex themes of power, madness, and human frailty, and it was seen as a triumphant return to the art form that had first made her famous. In 2018, she continued her comeback with another acclaimed performance, this time in the Broadway production of Three Tall Women by Edward Albee. Her role as an elderly woman reflecting on her life, won her a Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. The recognition was a testament to her enduring talent and her ability to captivate audiences even after a long absence from the stage. These performances marked a new phase in her acting career, one that was characterized by a return to her theatrical roots. While her earlier career had been dominated by film, this period saw her focusing primarily on stage work, where her powerful presence and command of language could be fully appreciated. The mystery of Glenda Jackson's private life. Throughout her career, both in acting and politics, Glenda Jackson was known for maintaining a strict separation between her public and private lives. Unlike many of her contemporaries, she rarely spoke about her personal life in interviews, and little was known about her family or relationships. Jackson married Roy Hodges, a stage manager, in 1958, but the marriage ended in divorce in 1976. The couple had one son, Dan Hodges, who went on to become a political commentator. Beyond this, details about her personal life were scarce, as she deliberately kept her private affairs out of the public eye. Her decision to live a private life was in stark contrast to the public nature of her careers. Despite being a well-known public figure, she never courted the media or sought attention outside of her professional work. This reticence contributed to the air of mystery that surrounded her, making her an enigmatic figure in both the arts and politics. Her private nature extended to her time in Parliament, where she was known for being reserved and focused on her work. Colleagues often remarked on her intense dedication to her duties and her lack of interest in the social aspects of political life. This focus on her work, combined with her refusal to engage in the more frivolous aspects of celebrity culture, only added to the intrigue that surrounded her. In the rare interviews where she did discuss her personal life, Jackson often emphasized her belief in the importance of privacy. She once remarked, "The work is what matters. Everything else is just noise." This philosophy guided her throughout her life, allowing her to maintain control over her public image and avoid the pitfalls that often accompany fame. Jackson's commitment to privacy meant that much of her personal life remained a mystery to the public. However, this mystery only deepened the fascination with her as a figure who defied easy categorization, living her life on her own terms. The return to politics. In a surprising development during the late 1990s, Glenda Jackson found herself increasingly drawn back into the political arena after stepping down as Minister for Transport in 1999. Dissatisfied with the direction the Labour Party was taking under Tony Blair, she became more vocal in her criticisms, particularly concerning the party's shift towards centrist policies. Jackson was particularly outspoken on issues like housing and social welfare, where she felt the party was abandoning its traditional working-class base. During this period, she was approached by various grassroots organizations and political figures who urged her to take a more active role in challenging the party's leadership. While she ultimately decided against a formal leadership bid, Jackson's involvement in these discussions highlighted her ongoing commitment to the political causes she believed in. Her influence within the party remained significant, and she continued to shape policy debates, especially those related to the welfare state and social justice. In addition to her involvement in national politics, Jackson also became deeply engaged in local community activism within her constituency. She frequently attended meetings, rallies, and events where she directly addressed the concerns of her constituents. One notable example was her passionate involvement in the campaign against the proposed closure of a local hospital in Hampstead. Jackson's hands-on approach and willingness to confront government authorities on behalf of her constituents demonstrated her deep commitment to public service. Her return to these grassroots activities reinforced her connection to the local community and solidified her reputation as a politician who prioritized the needs of the people over party politics. Political exit and immediate aftermath. In 2015, Glenda Jackson announced her decision to retire from politics, bringing an end to her 23-year tenure as a Member of Parliament for Hampstead and Kilburn. The announcement was made in January 2015, just a few months before the general election. In her statement, Jackson cited a desire to return to her first love, acting, as the primary reason for her departure from politics. This decision was met with a mix of surprise and understanding, both from her constituents and fellow MPs, many of whom had come to respect her for her principled stands and dedication to public service. Her final months in Parliament were marked by a series of key votes and speeches, reflecting the issues she had long championed. In March 2015, Jackson made one of her last major speeches in the House of Commons, passionately advocating for the protection of social housing, a cause she had tirelessly supported throughout her political career. Her speech was noted for its sharp criticism of the government's housing policies, which she argued were exacerbating inequality and pushing working-class families out of their communities. Jackson's final vote in Parliament came in late April 2015, when she cast her ballot against a controversial welfare reform bill. This vote was consistent with her long-standing opposition to policies that she believed disproportionately harmed the most vulnerable in society. Her decision to vote against the bill was a final act of defiance against what she saw as the erosion of the welfare state, a cornerstone of the Labour Party's traditional platform, As she prepared to step down, Jackson made a brief but poignant farewell speech in Parliament, thanking her colleagues and constituents for their support over the years. In her remarks, she expressed her hope that the issues she had fought for, particularly housing and social justice, would continue to be addressed by the next generation of politicians. Her farewell was met with a standing ovation from both sides of the House, a rare display of cross-party respect for a politician known for her fierce independence. Following her retirement from Parliament, Jackson wasted no time in returning to the world of acting. Within months, she had signed on to star in a major theatrical production, signaling her readiness to close the chapter on her political life and re-embrace her identity as an actress. The transition was swift, leaving little time for reflection or public commentary on her political career.